Hi, Ashutosh.
Hi Amit, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing very well. Doing very well. So good to see you on the camera. It's a gift of the digital age of COVID.
No, likewise to kind of see you here. I think that because of the digital age that we are into right now, I think that I have also got an honor to kind of see you virtually through this digital platform. It's so great to see you. And I hope
Likewise.
in UAE it's a weekend today.
It is a weekend in the Dubai. It's Friday, and it's something I got used to over last 5 years. But it's good to start the week early.
I'm sure. I'm sure. So I think that we should just give another 30 seconds for people to join in. And how are things out there in UAE? I think that's are things back to normal or because I
Things
could
are
see that they have kind of started uh, tourism and a lot of videos that I actually saw. So I'm not sure that how are things at their end, your end.
Yeah, no, but I think Dubai, that way, the governance is very, very solid. So, they have taken care of all the laws which human beings respond well to heavy fines. So they have made sure that, any issues of too much gathering, not wearing mask,
Okay,
in between the cases also went up, but now it's in control. It's coming back. Good signs. Good signs. Actually,
great,
economy also
great.
is moving a little back.
Great, wonderful. I think that it's we've also started learning the new normal, living in this new normal. And
Mhm.
though the cases have been increasing, but I think that still people uh, have now know as in they've kind of realized the way that how they need to live.
Hmm.
It's interesting to know the changes which are happening in right now.
Right, right,
Great.
right.
So let's start with the introduction. I think that Ashutosh doesn't really require any kind of an introduction, though. People are very, as in people know you, as in, and very interestingly, Ashutosh, I'll just tell you about it because the moment that people got to know about that you coming on our platform live, there are a lot of calls that I've received from a lot of people known to me who have worked under you in the past, right? And they are very excited to kind of be a part of this session.
I am so humbled and so happy actually, both. I can't tell you the feeling that I've worked with some great set of people, great teams all my life, and I'm sure there are a lot of many people out there, I've been friends and networked with. So very, very touched and very humbled to hear that. I'm very happy to hear that.
It's great. It's great. It's great. So, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to catch up with you all on a lovely Friday evening. I'm your host, Amit Kapoor, and like always, super excited to welcome you all to another thrilling edition of our weekly series, We All Have a Story, which is run under our digital storytelling platform, www.wastory.com. Firstly, I wish to acknowledge the immense support of all our viewers. Every week, they spare some time out on Friday and being with us. And we've been kind of continue to evolve ourselves with some unique topics and eras of experts with us. So during this entire conversation, I request all our viewers to feel free to engage in the conversation, ask questions. We have Ashutosh. This is an honor that we have him here. So I think that you should rather go ahead and put your questions across. Put those questions on the comment section. Share your thoughts on the comment section again. Anything that you want to kind of talk about in this session. So for today's session, as we all know that we have Ashutosh Sinha, and I'm overjoyed to welcome Ashutosh, who's a global leader and who has joined us live from Dubai for our upcoming initiative Invest in I. With over 25 years of experience, he has deployed a deep expertise in leadership transformation and organizational change, and has worked as a human resource leader for some of the best global organizations in US, India, Southeast Asia, and the Middle East. He has recently authored a globally best-selling book, Breakthrough: The Framework for an Inspired Career, which provides simplified answer to a question of what makes career truly successful. So, first of all, congratulations, Ashutosh, for writing a fantastic book, Breakthrough.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thanks for that vivid introduction, Amit.
I think that I had a very limited introduction that I've given, and in case I would rather start talking about you, it would take the entire time that we've blocked for you today. There is so much to talk about you, but
You're so
definitely,
kind.
yeah, no, seriously. So, and I did get an opportunity to get a copy, and I must tell you, I've thoroughly enjoyed reading the book. And though I'm not a very big fat book reader, but trust me, it's an incredible book for a quick bite. The best part about the book is like the content is extremely insightful and relatable. The most impressively the framework, which actually holds the reader to finish it in a single go, and that's something which is very unique because I do not tend to see a lot of books who have that kind of a traction in terms of to ensure that people like glued to that particular book, and the content is really very nice. So before
Superb.
we move to the
So happy to hear
and
that. In fact, I mean, in very simple words, the book is my journey, personal journey, and journey of so many people who have made me and made themselves around me. So it's very, very good to hear that. Thank you for saying that, Amit. I'm really happy to hear that.
No, great, great. So before we move to the topic today, I know that everybody is waiting to kind of go ahead and hear about the topic, but definitely there is a set of audience who want to know a little bit more about your book. I want to know a little bit more about you. So before moving ahead with the topic, we wish to know a little bit more about the book, the inspiration behind writing this book, and how do you think that it provides a change of perspective for others who are looking to make much needed shift in their career?
That's a very good question. See, Amit, I'll be very candid, and people who know me know that I like to be extremely, it's a truth and dare for me, always very honest on my answers. So I'll be equally honest here. See, sometime when I grew up, obviously I grew up with a dream. I came out of my college, and then I got onto my this interesting business and career, which all of us get onto after my
Yeah.
engineering and then MBA. And in between, during that journey, while I was dreaming to be that great guy I want to be, someone I had idealized to be in my life, I lost two of my precious mentors. I lost my father in '95, and I lost my grandfather in '95 and my father in '96, very quick succession. And then it pulled me back, but I jumped back again. And over the period of time, I started, really enjoying my work. I did a lot of good things, but somewhere realized that while all this was happening, I was missing something. The happiness in the work was kind of getting inversely proportional to the amount of learning I was kind of, hoping to get and the work I'm putting in. And then I started meeting a lot of people as I kind of reached my mid-career stage, a lot of CEOs. I must have hired about, I think, 40,000 people or a little more or less. I would have interviewed many more people, would have hired at least a couple of thousand business heads and CEOs in my life. And, I've been in touch with almost 300 of them. And they said something very interesting, many of them, that they were reaching a point when something broke for them, in the middle of the career. The money was there, the fame was there, the house was there, the car was there, the kids were doing better. But as the mortgages grew, as the ambition grew, the age grew, and the parents grew older, gradually the balancing act seemed tougher. And the way I like to put it is that esoteric, elusive happiness at work was being propounded by many books out there or many theories out there which talked about a sense of that, okay, go and be happy at work, go and I felt that was very esoteric, that was very flippant. It wasn't really, there's no
Yeah.
solutions. Executives today, or even young executives today, uh, do you have time to think about happiness? You don't really. You need a framework, you need something which you can, just go ahead and connect to your work and be happy and not go after something which is fuzzy logic. So that's where I came up with this framework, which I took a crack at. It's worked for me. It's worked for some of the other CEOs, business heads, leaders, businessmen around me, who I may not know personally, but I have interacted with. And it's a very simple framework. I call it CAPA framework, QAPA. And the good news is that that's what the book is all about. So I thought I should share that with the world. That was the
No, no.
simplest way I could put it.
Trust me, as in, it is, and the content. And since I've gone through, so I've gone through the entire book, and the way that is it has been structured, right? In terms of it has, there are a lot of chapters which actually make you realize that what you are into, what stage of life that you are into, what is the perspective that you look your career, and what exactly that you're looking out of your career or your next couple of years. So I think that this is something which I would recommend everybody to go through. Order a copy immediately and probably start going through that and read that book, because it is quite insightful and quite helpful for all the emerging leaders and people who've really stuck in their career at a certain stage, right, wherein they do not know what is the right direction, where to move, and I
Yeah.
think that this book will be a solution to all those people.
Yeah, I think the
So
book
let's
has a
let's
part
move.
of me for everyone. So thanks for saying that. And that's very kind of you. I didn't intend to sell the book on this forum, but the idea is that, yes, I feel very passionate about this topic. It's a mission for me. I almost feel now.
No, it is truly a remarkable and a commendable book that you wrote. So let's move to the topic, and today's topic of discussion is, again, this topic is very interesting: how to break through your career deadlocks. And I think that this topic is extremely imperative because something like a career deadlock often comes to us as an alert, right? And that there is a pressing need of change, but due to personal priorities, people often end up finding themselves at a crossroad, especially at a middle life stage, struggling to make the right career move. So I think to provide the insights on how we can break this deadlock and to continue to discover ourselves and our talents by making an inspired career move, we have Ashutosh Sinha with us. Thank you, Ashutosh, and it's a real pleasure to have you here. And I'm sure that you will be able to kind of answer a lot of our questions today. Thanks to all the audience, and good evening to all of you, because I could see that the numbers have been, the algorithm has been really shooting high. We've already have a lot of people joining us live right now. So to begin with, Ashutosh, the situation, right? So the current situation when we talk about pandemic, right? The situation created by the pandemic is new to the entire generation. The crisis itself has been such a deadlock that most people are not finding any common solution to the challenges. I think defining and returning to a normal life and getting new ways to resume activities related to work, business, education, recreation, etc. So that itself is a challenge right now. And and again, so many, and again, if in case we look at all those successful managers and professionals, uh, uh, there are a lot of research around it that many successful managers and professionals who come back to business schools at a mid career are looking for more than honing their leadership skills. So because many of them are stuck in their career right now, and they're looking for directions and supports for the changes they long to make in the near future. And in the simple way, if in case we try and explain that their career is in a deadlock, and when they do not know how to move forward, or when they are not satisfied with what they are doing. So how do you know if you are in a career deadlock, and how is the condition being in one different from a professional burnout? So this is what I want to know a little bit more about from
That's
Ashutosh today.
a that's a great starting question. I think Amit, you're good at it. That's a good first ball of the pitch. I'm trying to bat here, but it's actually a great question. It's a great question. Um, Let me first, respond to it by asking back a question to the audience here. And I am. It's not for them to respond, but really the point is that a career deadlock and a career burnout, a job burnout, are two different things. And my concern always is that we confuse one for the other. The simplest way I look at, let's talk about the burnout at work. That's probably
Yeah.
because of too much work. That's probably because of, you have really stretched yourself very thin. I do that a lot of time to myself. I've done that many times. I'm sure I've seen a lot of people around me work very hard, very passionately about work and what they do. And then, they reach a point where it becomes kind of a wear and tear on them. And a little break and a little, doing their own thing actually helps, because then they come back refreshed, rejuvenated, go to the mountain, take a deep breath, and come back, right? Pursue a hobby, play guitar, take a dip in the nice river, and come back. But career deadlock is not going to get fixed by that. And
Yeah.
if you have come back rejuvenated and you feel that, oops, it's still not working out for me, I'm still feeling jaded, I'm still feeling tired, I get to work every day and I find my boots are heavier, or my drive to home, or nowadays not driving so much, but at least the way, and I log into my computer to get on the screen, I don't necessarily get excited about it,
Yeah.
then you need to question yourself. Then there is a checkpoint, as I call it. And that is really because what's happening is what you're doing somewhere, it's not connected well with your own personal sense of, what's right to do. Your true north, as I call it in my language, what I've been propounding.
Yeah.
So, it is something which is around, there's a true north, there's a direction you want to head into. At the same time, there's a true north of the organization and the team you're working for. And if both the true norths don't match, it's like saying, I want to get to the Mount Everest peak, and everyone wants me to go there, but I know
Yeah.
that this is the right route to go there, but everyone is
Yeah.
forcing me to go through this route, and I'll never enjoy that route because I know this is the right route. So you need to kind of take a pause, reflect, and say that, okay, I've hit a point where I am getting not burnt out, but I need to do something about it. There's a bit of a stalemate here. And in
Yeah.
fact, there's a free, it's copyrighted, but it's kind of something I've developed over research with thousands of executives. It's called the Career Thermometer. If some of the people have not taken it, they should go and check it out. It's on my website, and it's in my book as well. And the Career Thermometer is a very simple 5-minute questionnaire which has got a thermometer tool which tells you in 10 minutes, are you in a career deadlock or are you burnt out? And that's a simple way to look at it.
So I think that you mentioned in that book the warmth of the water, right? Where the frogs in, right? So
Yes,
I
yes,
think that
that's
how hot it is and how warm it, how chill it is.
let me talk about that for a second. So, the I call it the frog story, right? I don't know if many of you have seen it on Google. This is not really, guys. If any of you are working with PETA or are fans of animals, I love animals as well. So I'm not going to roast
Wow.
a frog here. But the point here is really about tell you an example. The story is that if you put a frog inside a bowl of water and put the water on heat, right? You expect the frog to jump out. The frog doesn't jump out, right? And then you heat it up more, and then the frog still doesn't jump out. And then after about a few minutes, you turn the temperature really up on there, and the frog readapts to stay there and gets cozy about it. And then you
Yeah.
turn it really high, and the frog ultimately starts getting cooked, unfortunately. Now, we humans are a little bit like that. We're trained somehow in our mind to adapt, readapt, and readapt. So what happens the first time when our intuitive sense says, hey, this job is not right for you, or hey, you're not enjoying this, or let's say your job is right, but you need to fix it. We say, okay, I have inertia. Let me take a step back. Let me talk to a few people and let me readapt to the environment. Then the environment becomes
Yeah.
slightly more ugly for you. You have a client's issue, you have a boss issue, you could have a peer issue, you could have a political issue, you could have a location issue, you could have a salary issue. There's so many things around a job, right? And then we say, no, it's okay, let's carry on. Especially in nowadays with uncertain world and climate, with COVID, with oil crisis, with things going up and down around the world, people tend to even take a conservative approach and say that, okay, let me just readapt to it. And you start getting cooked. You don't realize you get
Yes.
cooked. Ultimately, it's too late to move out. And then you say, I'm in deadlock. Where do I go now? I don't have a left. I don't have a right. So I'm not propounding that people should leave a job, but it's about doing something about the situation, recognizing the situation. That's extremely, extremely important. Don't say it's okay. It's not the right thing to do. You're not being kind to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that you very rightly said, because I have also experienced that very often employees who have a constant job position, a good salary, and a good experience, they start making even mistakes at work, right? And and it is not even connected with their personal or personal life or health. The reason of these faults are usually the fact that they have a career deadlock, and they don't even see any perspective in their careers in terms of they get used to it, the everyday routine. So the way that you just mentioned it, that they adopt whatever is happening around them, right? They don't even feel guilty when they derail the meetings, mix up the documents, or have the lowest time trackers indexes, because they're so indifferent about whatever the situation right now that they're into, right? And they adapt accordingly. The way that you just talked about a frog, what is happening around them, right? So they don't, they get so indifferent about whatever the situation that they've been into right now.
Very true. It affects
And that
the
is a number of
individual and it affects the company as well. So, both parties are not happy, but the boss also gets
yeah,
affected. So ultimately,
yes,
no one is happy in in that situation. But you just keep saying it's okay. Let me carry on.
yeah, very right. So I think that you absolutely made it so simple for us to understand. Moving to the next question. I think that if you are and this is about your career stagnation, right? So if you experience career stagnation, right? So sometimes you may feel lost in the woods, right? It's a very lonely feeling, searching without knowing exactly what you are looking for and what it will take to get your career back on track. And it becomes a vicious circle, right? And you tend to fall in a trap to make a lot of mistakes, right? Wanted to know, because again you have a lot of experience. So in your experience, what is a number one mistake that people make when they experience a career stagnation in their life, in their career?
It's again a very good question. See, what do you do when you are in a bad, stagnant water? You're going on a trek, and you land. You put your feet in a puddle of bad mud or murky stuff. Okay, you
Yeah,
yank your foot out. Similarly, we are designed by our psychology, and there's a lot of positive psychology research on this. The first thing we do is we yank ourselves out of the situation. So we pull the escape hatch. We say, all right, I need to jump out of the situation. All right, my career is getting stagnated. I need to jump out of this and let me come out of this. But somewhere, as you do that naturally, as the brain tells that you to do that naturally, the other factor which is playing on you all the time is that you know is it as simple as yanking out or pulling the escape hatch? Because you have a lot riding on you as a human being, right? As a professional, you could be a woman who has got her family, her kids. She has to go back and look after her home in the evening, and then also to take care of the fact that her, husband may be in another different country or different city, and the husband is also kind of working and making sure that he or she's taking care of the earnings of the family. So men and women both are working hard to put a family together. We are a society where everyone
true.
is putting a family together, and sometimes they're together, sometimes they're apart by city, for the jobs, or they may be the same city, but they don't end up meeting for weeks together. And then there could be
Yeah,
people who are not even married and you're young from career coming out of college and so on and so forth. And then the people who have children, who are teenagers or grown up kids, and in either case, any of these scenarios, if you break the situation up, I have a simple formula called quadrants. Quadrant A is people in 20 to 30. Quadrant B is people in quadrant in 30 to 40, and so on and so forth. Every 10 years make a quadrant. Quadrant C is people in 40 to 50, and so on. And depending what quadrant are you in, you need to assess your current scenario. How much is my career stagnating, if it is stagnating? And stagnating is a very harsh word. I really like it. Stagnation by word itself means
yeah,
it's getting murkier, it's not enjoyable, it's getting smelly. So you kind of need to figure around yourself that how do I recognize the situation I am in. That's 50% of the part, and what's going on around it. Why is it happening? and
yeah,
and that's what I would say that the prime element where it all starts. So that's the first reaction. People want to jump out of it, but they are not able to jump out of it, so they become miserable. That, hey, I want to leave this job, I want to leave this business, I want to leave this situation, but I have to walk back to my example on the in the trail with my shoes still silted with mud and murk because I put it into the puddle, but I can't do anything about
Yeah,
it. I can't wash it off.
true. Absolutely right. I think that you made it so simple, and I think that career stagnation is something which people are really it's a negative word, right? And you, as you just said, that it's a very harsh word when actually we talk about that you stagnant and there is no opportunity that you could see in your career, right? And so if you're feeling stuck in a rut, and the first thing that you should know you should know is that you are not alone, because I think that career stagnation is common and it is with everybody.
Completely. I think I mean you said it right. 76 or 77% people in the world go through this at some point of time. If you're, by the way, among the remaining 20 odd percent who have had a perfect career so far with no element of career burnout, stoppage, stagnation, stall, I think you're very lucky. And my congratulations to each one of you who are on the call, who have who are in that situation. You could share your stories actually, or send me
Absolutely.
articles about yourself. But other others mostly I have seen have gone through it, and I went through it, many times in my life, and it doesn't happen once. It happens, it goes through three or four spots, stretches in career. That's why I say every quadrant of career has a different complexity of life and career and job, and you have to deal with it accordingly. So you're definitely not alone. You're absolutely right, Amit. Whoever is in that situation is definitely not alone. There have been a lot who have been through that, and that's how it's been. Yeah.
And I think that your book actually talks about that. So when you defined it like QAPA, right, which I remember that I've read, so it divides your life into quadrants, and then the you need to assess and plan, and then you need to take an adequate actions. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think that's something which is very important, and that's how that you'll be able to kind of move out of this career stagnation, because there are because when you feel stuck, that there are no opportunities to learn or no opportunities to grow, or there are no promotions happening in, or the organization is running into losses right now in the current situation, right? That you feel that yes, you've got into a situation which could be very difficult, and people tend to make mistakes. And I think that you need to be very
Yeah.
clear. You need to be very clear what exactly would be your next steps. Uh, absolutely right. So let's move to another interesting question. I think that this is a very common question that I could see from a lot of people. A lot of people have really asked this question, wanted in this session, and they've especially mailed us. It is very relevant to them. So this is a very and again this is a very sticky topic, and one of the most people. I would say that most of the people would like to stay away from this note, which is like errors at work. I think
Hmm.
that people duck responsibility for reason ranging from simple laziness or a fear of failure through to a sense of a feeling overwhelmed by the scale of a problem or a situation. So I personally believe that no matter what is holding you back and how huge the error you probably would have done it, or you it could be, right? You have to be genuine, self-aware, and true to yourself. Because why do you so my question to you, Ashutosh, is why do you think people do not sometimes take that accountability for their own shortcomings and failures? Because that's what we actually see in this corporate world.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to say that, just look at it into two or three elements. One is if someone is making a mistake, we do that all the time. And there's a very simple proverb we learned in school: to err is human, right? So if you're making error, it is human. You're definitely human. You're not a robot, and you're definitely not from Mars. So that's actually a
Yeah,
good sign. Happy. Look at yourself in the mirror. You are a human. So it's perfect. But the mistakes which we end up making in career or in life, it's all about decisions in the day, right? We seem to be taking decisions all the time in our life. There's always this fork, right? We choose the X road or the Y road. There's always this
over.
fork. There's a decision
Yeah,
making happening like today in this moment for someone. Someone may be looking at a job opportunity. Someone may be looking to take a decision on a project or a work tomorrow morning, and that decision making decides, are you going to do it right, or are you doing it wrong? And you don't know sometimes, really. And the important thing here is to remember one simple fact, that you have to reasonably allow yourself the room to make an error, but at the same time, spend some time with your own self to be able to reflect on things. Don't be rambling on, or don't be rattling on in your car on the road. Because what's
Mm.
happening is when we make errors, usually the errors are caused by three or four reasons. One, it could be a knowledge error. So they could be, or a skill error. There could be an issue which could be a will error, which, and there's a very usual term industry uses, skill or will. It could be will, it
Yeah.
could be really because you may not have had the passion or the courage or the energy to really do something. You're doing it because someone told you, so you don't really want to do it. You're just doing it because someone has told you. Third reason for error could be that you made a simple mistake. It was a careless mistake, right? And the fourth reason could be you are just so tired and fatigued by so much work and you're stretched that you made an error. Even the unfortunately, even the planes which have a 0.0001% chance to go wrong,
Yeah.
pilots make errors as well. So and unfortunate. So what becomes important here is that as a pilot here of your plane, the reason you feel bad is because you have passengers in your plane. The
Mm.
passengers could be, your parents, your kids, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. And the point is, or your society also sometimes. And you need to therefore first yourself allow that room for error, and then
Yeah.
say, let me put on my own oxygen mask, right? In an aeroplane as well, what happens is when things go wrong, they first tell you, put on your own oxygen mask, and then help your
Yeah.
fellow passengers. So we should first ensure that we have oxygen coming to ourselves. And are we not fatigued? Have we taken a pause? Have we reflected? And have we thought through what's going on around us? And if you made a mistake of taking the wrong job, if you're taking the mistake of taking the wrong decision, if you're taking the mistake of saying something wrong in a meeting, and or someone is holding it politically against you, which also happens in different organizations sometimes,
Yeah.
unfortunately, these are facts of life. Uh,
Absolutely.
don't fret yourself so much that you make your whole performance go down. Take a step back, take 3 hours off, 4 hours off, think about it, and then make a comeback, because coming back is also the other power of human nature. We come back
Absolutely.
really solid. I mean, I remember this movie. There been when you look at Creed of Sylvester Stallone, or Rocky, or if you think of Gulam,
Yes.
America, everyone gets, you're knocked, but you're not out, right? You can always make a
No. Yeah.
comeback. So that's the whole point. Mistakes always lead to two directions. One, you can feel miserable about it, and you can go really bad from there on the X fork, and you say, I'm done, I'm going to continue to make mistakes. Second is you pause, reflect, get up, don't get knocked out, and you can make a huge comeback.
Yeah.
And I've seen many people do that. Many people do that.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And I think that I would like to say this thing right now. So with the questions, whatever balls that we have bowled to you, right? You've always ensured that you're hit with a boundary, right? So that's
Yeah,
so
I
so
I
so
love
you answered it so well. It make people to probably follow. There've been certain time, right, that we do not know what is right and wrong, right? What decisions to take, what choices to make. I think that with this conversation, people will be able to kind of do the self-realization in terms of what is the time, as in at this point in time, what they need to do, what is the next step, or what are the actions that they have to take. So I have certain questions from the audience, and I will pick one of the questions which has been shared by Sukhmarit Singh. And the question here is like, how can we be digital freedom entrepreneur, and when can we know it's our time to quit a 9 to 5 job, and how do we determine that? Uh, so this is the time that people been into a regular job, and that they feel that now they want to quit their job and they want to move out and become an entrepreneur, right? And
Hmm.
how do you think that people can be able to kind of determine when is the right time to take that kind of a move, right? Or,
Good.
uh, yeah, yeah,
So, hi Sukhmit, if you asked, sorry if I got the name wrong. That's a good question you asked, actually. See, I'll try to compress this in a very simple way. And if I've not answered it well, I'm happy to take it up again offline for you. But just let's make it very simple. First of all, the golden strategy of setting up anything on your own is to de risk yourself.
yeah,
What does it mean? Make sure that at least you have 18 months of nuts and fruits, going back to the Ice Age movie, right?
yeah,
To bear by you during the time when there is cold winter for you. So, which means that if you're trying to do something new, it will take time to gestate and come out of it, and become something which is big and nice, which can start giving back returns. So that's number one. Number two, what's very important is that once when you de-risk yourself and your passengers on the plane, like I said earlier, you have an
your
oxygen
friends, family, yeah,
flow coming in the mask for the next 18 months at least.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
and depends, some of, if you're just a single young man, and I believe that that's the name of a man or a woman, I'm sorry, but if you're someone who is uh, you know six single and lucky, and want to just go after it quickly, I think 6 months is also enough, right? Because you don't have a lot riding on
yeah,
you. So it depends. That answer really depends. Which quadrant are you in? Like I said earlier.
yeah,
Point number two really is around making sure that how do you leverage your skills? See, digital age is nothing. Digital age is the
yeah,
gift of science and COVID to us. I say COVID as
yeah,
well, not
yeah,
just science, because suddenly the world has become catalyzed and moved in the direction of being, look at how we are all connected today, right? So
true,
it's become more virtual, more connected, just from the living room and bedrooms and drawing rooms. So the point is that digital, let's keep that word for a moment aside. That is just a tool, that's just an element, that's just a skill, but that's a horizontal which will be available across for anything one wants to do. What's important is, what is that skill which you are really good at and which you
yeah,
believe that you are passionate about? So there are two things here, right? If you start something new, I have, and trust me, I have mentored a lot of new startups. I have been friends with a lot of new startups, and I can tell you this: the most frequently failed is good to fail, right? It's good to fail fast. That's completely
yeah,
okay. But
yeah,
the most failed startups had one thing in common, among other reasons, right? Was when the entrepreneur or the team there was not behind what they wanted to do. The ownership was missing. You were doing what
absolutely,
you thought market research told you. You're doing what you thought, hey, that's a good idea I read in the newspaper, or someone told you, yaar, jaake ye kar lo, this is going to make you some money. But the point
yeah,
is not around that. The point is about what you want to stand behind and you truly believe you have the skill to deliver on or borrow from. That's
yeah,
one. Second is passion. So first is you found a purpose. I call this the three P's, right? First is purpose. You found the purpose which is related around your, why do you want to do it? What's the skill around it? Second is the passion that you truly believe it. It should be a cause. It should be something which you believe is going to make a dent in the market. It's going to change things
yeah,
around you. So that's second. Third is the paycheck, right? Third is the money. So the three P's: purpose, passion, paycheck, all to go together all the time, but it's in this order. And if you're sure that you can leverage the first two P's, then the third P is
yeah,
going to come your way anyway. Don't worry about it. But what's important is that you leverage the digital age today to do it. So coming back to timing, like I said, to sum it up, is depends on where you are in your life stage. Number two,
yeah,
how and when can you do it? Start a parallel traction. You can don't pull the eject button. Third is, do not give a negative vote to something you don't take. Always have a positive vote, right? It's like
yeah,
elections. Don't vote for a party if you don't like the other party. Vote for a party if you like that party, right? So same thing, if you are voting for a certain kind of business or a job, go for it because you love it, not because someone told you or you hate the other one. It doesn't work that way, right? Same thing happens when you rebound in love, right? Don't
yeah.
go into the new relationship because you just hate the previous relationship. So So it happens in every way to us in different ways. And I would say keep those rules in mind. Life will be simple, my friend. And if I've not answered your question completely, I will happy to take it offline later.
Great. Thank you very much. And thank you for your question and thank you for your response, Ashutosh. I think that you very well explained. And I think that you made it very clear because anything that you want to start up, you need to be prepared for the consequences because it's going to take some time. So whatever that you thought, your paychecks might not be now coming monthly. It might take some time. So, and you need to see that what quadrant that you're sitting at because how many responsibilities that you already have on your head because you can't just keep taking risk, right? But you should have a proper backup before you get into that path because that's also very important because the results not gonna come from the first day or from a first month. This would take its
Absolutely.
own sweet time to kind of pay you back because I know a lot of people who have switched from their professional life and they have got into that and become an entrepreneur or followed their passion in their life and made that as a career. But they said that its paychecks have not been that regular and not been that great, which they used to get in their professional lives. It took their sweet time to probably be paid off well, but that requires a lot of hard work. So till the time that, as Ashutosh rightly said, till the time that you're not passionate about what you're doing, right? Because it requires a lot of hard work.
Completely.
So if in
Completely.
case you have a dream and you, yeah,
It's like sports also sometimes, Amit, and you are yourself a quite a successful entrepreneur. So I think you answer your views are very important here. What you just said, see, end of the day, in sports, anyone who's a sports person knows this, right? Or if everyone plays a musical instrument, it's the same thing, right?
yeah,
The hard work in the beginning is immense. In guitar, your fingers become hard. You have to keep going at it. In athletics or in cricket or in soccer, whatever you choose, tennis, you do put hours and hours and hours of sweat before you can crack it. So that, to your point, is absolutely essential. You should have one enough nuts to
yeah.
go on and last that long. Second, you should have enough energy and passion, which is connected to your real passion. Only then the energy will keep going on. Otherwise, one will fall off the way and say, "Oh shit, I can't do this anymore." And the third is obviously the fact that, which I say, if you have an idea, if you have a passion, go for it. Don't wait for someone to give you and tell you that don't do it. But as long as you've done the other first two things.
Right. Absolutely rightly said, Ashutosh. I think that I completely agree to whatever that you mentioned here. There is another very interesting question. I thought of I'll move to the next question, but this question really picked my eye right now on it, and I thought of I'll ask you this question. And it's I think that most of it we've already spoke about, but if in case you can precisely give a response to this question has been asked by Bhavya, and Bhavya is asking that can there be a career stagnation even if you believe you are in a perfect position or a profession or a job?
Absolutely. I believe that, if you are humming along and if you are in a job which is perfect and which is you've got nothing to complain about,
Yeah,
sometimes stagnation also happens in under very quiet waters. The water may be very, very quiet on top.
yeah,
There may not be any ripple, be very, very placid when you go to one of those vacations. You've seen those kind of waters in the lake, and but inside there may be deep stagnation happening. So and then that surfaces much later. So comfort sometimes can be confused with happiness. I'm trying to say that again. Comfort can be confused with happiness in the job, in the moment. And I think what the question here is, if you are all is well, it's okay, cool, but keep
yeah,
doing a bit of a reflection and check. I have something called the career economics, which I talk about, and that is really around, if you are today, let's say, let's pick an age, right? Let's say you are 38 years of age, now 35 years of age, right? Just look at subtract that from let's say you started your career at 23 or 24 or 22, and multiply that into 9 hours and 365 days minus 125 because take all the weekends. I'll do the maths later for you, but the net point which I'm trying to tell you is at that time of hours you spend so far, and the hours now which you have still to go on in your career. Let's say you want to retire at some point of time, and that term is called FIRE. It's called financial independence, retire early. A lot of people use that
Yeah.
lingo sometimes. I am not necessarily a big fan of that, but it's a common way to say that this is the age I want to retire early. I want to hang my boots at 50 and do something. My point is, doing that something can be now. Why wait to retire early and then do that something? That's Ask
Yeah.
yourself. That's the second thing.
Yeah.
Third is calculate the time. So if you're 38 something today, as example, or 35 something, 50 minus 38 into 65, take off the weekends, 125 days, 240 days roughly, into 9 hours a day, and discount by 35% of your family time, children, parents, vacation, job loss, or bad days, good days, all of that. You will realize just by simple maths, do that today, the
Yeah.
hours which you have left in your career, active career life is less than the hour you spent so far. And if you're anyone, and I've done that maths, if you're anyone who's beyond 34 years of age today, 100% sure I can tell you that. So the point is, to back to the question that, if you are feeling good and cool about what you do today, it's great actually. I'm very happy to hear that. And therefore, Bhavya, what I would like to just request you is do a checkpoint, do a pulse check with yourself once in a while and see that what you're doing and you're happy and you're comfortable about with what you're doing because you love it as much as you love it if you were to retire today, or it is because everything is nice
Become.
and cool and you're getting good money at your bank. That's the question I'd leave you with.
Yeah.
Hope you answered your question, Bhavya. Sorry if I didn't.
So I think that there is a quote which been rightly said is like, yeah, love your work or leave your work, right? So till the time that you are in love with your work, right, keep on continue doing it because this is the way that you'll be able to kind of gauge it that whether you are in a right profession or not, and is it time for you to move out or not. So
Yes.
I'm sure Bhavya would have got an excellent response to the question that she asked. Thank you very much, Bhavya, for asking this question, and thank you, Ashutosh. So moving to another interesting question that I have, and I think that most of us really know that how India has been as in, and recently I've kind of studied that recently the World Economic Forum issued a wake up call to develop talent, and India got its mandate very loud and clear, given its 72nd rank on Global Talent Competitiveness Index in 2020. So there are jobs, but no skills, and vice versa. Moreover, there are jobs, but no family supporting wages. So the clock is ticking away, and it is a time we view that this is a composite problem, just not solving a problem in isolation. Because the skills that leads to job, which offers family supporting wages, is something which we need to really understand right now. So, how do you think that we can solve this problem of a deadlocked job skills and wages in India can be resolved? Because we know that there is a young India is struggling to find a job, and the country's middle-aged elite professionals are hitting the dead ends in their career because automation and this slow economic growth have really led to a fundamental change in business worldwide, and that has had an unkind effect on the senior executive and the younger lot of population. So how do you think that
Yeah.
the deadlock that we have in terms of the jobs, the skill, the wages in India, can this problem be resolved?
So that's, I would say, you just bowled like Harbhajan Singh. That was a good spitball coming my way. So just to use the
Hey,
convenient
you
cricket
are a tough
lingo,
batsman, so you are a tough batsman.
but it's a very
I
deep
need to
question.
use all my bowlers.
It's a very deep question, Amit. Very, very good question. Let me put it this way. Our beautiful country today has a very diverse issue. The issue is that we have a lot of educational institutions and they're in different categories and different tiers. I remember when I used to be a director of HR with a company in India way back in 2007 or 10, I think, 7. One thing which came up top and up out there that time was this national skill repository which was being worked on. And um, even now I'm very passionate about. I've been working, and I'm really hoping to pick this up very quickly with the education ministry in India as well. It's something that's really after my heart. So you really touched this question beautifully, Amit. I love this question. See, the skill which is coming out of my beautiful country today across different colleges and institutions is not consistent with what is being asked for by the organizations who are recruiting
Yeah.
for those skills. So, first of all, there's a bridge. And then this bridge is a bridge of fear, I call it, right? So, people have to cross this bridge. If you're here with a skill which you're not consistent with what's being asked for, there's a gap. So then you use, and we Indians always done that, right? Even in, I remember even now we do this, so you do our education 10th, 11th, 12th, and then we want to do a side competition exam course to get into a competitive exam. So there's a build up and a patch in coding language, coders will call it. We build up there's a middleware, and then you always end up building a patch to arrive to the front. So the point is, we have a patch approach to everything. And that is my biggest concern today. And the government doesn't want to do that. If you look at the NEP, it's really around saying the new education policy is around saying that how do you self-sustain every college, every education, every person? How can you build that framework in the country? And the point is that the last mile curriculum in colleges and institutions, and I'm not saying everyone is like that, but it's a 70% issue.
Absolutely.
60 to 70% of the institutions still, the last mile is not current and consistent with what is being asked for by future job situations. And then my question comes to your other point, which was you said it in undertone, but it's a very important question. People who are most hit by this are people whose parents cannot afford a 2 square meal.
Yeah.
They may be in villages, they may be in rural areas, they may be even in cities, but the point is they are unable to afford a 2 square meal. So, how can they support an education, which is a patch education, like I said, to fine tune, do the finishing school on top of what the college was supposed to give to the kid already? It's not fair. And therefore, what happens is that this patch and this lack of funding to build that patch on this young man or young woman who comes out of college and wants to get into a job or a profession, that fails at that point of time. And therefore, what really is important here is I'll come to the solution now, is two or three things very quickly, right? One is, I think people like me, let me start with my ownership here. I feel it's my ownership, and I'm already working on that right now. I'm shortly starting, and I want to call this out today. That I'm working to set up a bit of a fund trust where I'm looking at, inviting 10 such children and or kids from different places across the country who I could sponsor to their higher education, and if that's not a patchwork, at least some mentoring, and then mentor them through the jobs. But same thing, if everyone can pick one person, two people, and not through money necessarily, right? I mean, I can put sponsorship here like a scholarship, let's say. But my point here is, if all of us can come together, if institutions can come together and say, let's pick up those 3 or 4 people around us, one person around us who we know, where we can help in building that skill. And gradually, we work at the grassroots level also to do away with the patch strategy
Yeah.
and build that, as a regular training within the last mile curriculum of the college itself.
True.
I think it will be beautiful. Then comes the ownership also of the organizations, by the way. I
Yeah.
don't think that we as corporates can wash off our hands on this. So it's very important for corporates. to have a very good onboarding strategy, which is solid, to have the finishing school built into that, and not look for that perfect skill to hire a person, right? You can't, let's start hiring a little bit on potential. You can't get everyone on like 10 on 10. If it's 6.5 and you can add a 1.5 to make it 8, it's totally cool because no one will be 10 on 10. No one, even a person who's hiring is not 10 on 10. So let's get it real and basic here, that how can we, give our 1.5 from an organization standpoint, our 1.5 as a society and as professionals around us, and our 1.5 in that 6.5 added on with from a college standpoint. So I hope that answers your question. I went slightly, of the diagnosis here, just to kind of make sure that we understand the problem completely. But I'm very, very passionate about this issue, and I want to make a difference to our beautiful country, and we can all do it together. I really feel that there's a cause here, which is after my heart, and this is one cause I really, really want to push. So thank you for asking that, Amit. That question was extremely good, touched my heart. Thank you.
I think that you kind of you picked up the right pulse actually. I think you very well explained it. The education system. I think that if in case once we have the education system in place, though there are a lot of changes which the education system, as in India, is trying to kind of make the
It
changes in the
is,
current
yeah,
curriculum and all that. But definitely there's a particular sector of who really can't afford to be in that part of that education system. And I was reading an article when exactly that I saw that in government schools, 64% of students leave before 10th and 12th grade from school.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah. So that's a very huge figure. As in, if in case you look at that, that a kid study till the standard of 10th or 12th, but they do not go beyond that, right?
Completely. See,
Because
if
they
we
have
if we were
responsibility
to
to take care.
if
Yeah.
we were to sorry to interrupt you, but if you were to just break that problem down by states in the country as well, some states have done better job than others, and that's because they've cracked exactly what you said better on the literacy, on the ability to support and get that patch taken care of. Some education institutes have done a great job at it. So I don't think
Yeah.
educational system is broken. The good news is, in 2007 we were really behind. Today we are 12 years, 13 years later, to 2020. It's a different era. The generation coming out today is very smart people, very, very smart, with extremely nimble minds and very hungry to do something in life, and we have to feed it. It'll be a sin right now if you're not able to nurture this entire generation coming out from the last generation, the last few years and the next 10 years, and convert this into a big advantage for the nation. So, it is very rightly said. I actually just wanted to add in one more point very quickly. It struck me is that, um, see, sometimes we get into this critical piece of coffee or water cooler conversation of blaming everyone around us and saying, um, you know, this is not good, that is not good, the some system is broken and things like that. My only request to everyone who is hearing this today is, what are you doing about it for yourself, for people around you, and for any education institution you have been part of? Can you make a difference? And I know we are all very busy, but let's take the gift of these COVID digital era, like I said earlier, and we don't have to travel around now to do this. We can get on the phone and Zoom and Teams or whatever, and video and Google Meet and whatever, and we are able to make a difference now by virtually traveling across. So take advantage of the situation, of the speed of travel which has changed, that we don't have to get on a plane, we don't have to shed off laziness, inertia to do that. Let's get connected and make the change ourselves. Let's start from ourselves. It's a humble request to everyone. I am definitely on it, and I need as many people can join this movement. I almost feel to make that change. It'll be amazing. It'll be a shift.
I think that definitely in the moment that you've started and you thought of, I think that we all are in for it, and think that the way that you kind of expressed that how important it is, and contributing a little can really make a difference, because if all of us would be able to kind of contribute a little to it towards it, I'm sure that the magnitude of the difference would be pretty evident in very soon.
Yeah, and the contribution here is of just some advice and some time. That's all
Yeah,
everyone is looking
a
from
little bit of
us. Yeah,
guidance. Yeah, absolutely,
a little bit
absolutely.
guidance. Yeah.
Yeah. So the last question of the session. Okay, so let me pick up this question, and this is also a very interesting question. And I think that a lot of younger generation would like to kind of ask this question from you. It's like that the current global pandemic scenario in COVID-19 has really set a very high benchmark to acquire a job which is proportionate to your qualification. And acquiring a desired job has still not just become difficult, it has become more competitive as well. Now, for young people today, it is more important than ever that they are well equipped to enter the workforce. Despite being educated, many of them lack the skills that they need to get their desired job. And I think that's something which is basically a major problem with the younger generation. They do not know the kind of skills that they need, or they required to succeed in a difficult job market like today's market.
It's a it's again a very important point. It's connected to the previous one in some ways, and
Yeah,
you know, let me structure my answer so that we can. It's a very complex question, and so I can answer this in the quickest and the most structured and the simplest way. See, this is not an issue just with the young generation. Actually, even with experienced professionals today, suddenly there's more talent supply in. See, what is job? Job is the equation of supply and demand.
yeah,
So there is certainly a huge supply of talent in the market and less jobs out there to absorb that talent, which means the talent economics has changed. What's really happening is we are more people willing to go for jobs versus people who are, available for the right jobs. In other words, if you look from an employer lens or organization lens, they are looking for a certain skill, but they're still not able to hire it right off. And why is that? Because there is a bridge again, like I said earlier, which is missing. And there's enough talent supply, there's enough set of people out there, but that is not connecting with what the employer is looking for. Now, if I break that problem again into my quadrant way, that's the simplest way I always look at these things. If you look at the younger guys who are 20 to 30,
yeah,
the issue there is that as they come out of college or they're little experienced and they want to switch to another job, obviously it's easier to write to people as saying the common thing you'll hear during these pandemic times: stay put, lie low, keep your head low, don't do anything silly, don't do anything stupid, and just live through the storm. My question
yeah,
is, do we know how long the storm is? And my
no,
second
we're not.
question is, how do we show that there's a next storm coming or not? I'm not trying to be pessimistic here, guys. What I'm trying to say is
Yeah,
that
very true.
what does lying low mean here? I'm challenging that situation, right? So, what are we doing around it right now is it's not about jumping a job, or it's good to be stable, like I said, good to have a risk strategy. But at the same time, you need to start developing skills, and the skills could be various kind of skills. Organizational skill. I'm going to quote someone I was talking to who said something beautiful. The expectation for younger generation today is to wear swimming trunks under a three-piece suit. And I love the statement, the way this person told me, is that you need to be able to swim across organization deftly and be able to shape a career where you can pick as many skills as possible right now. And as the opportunity comes, be ready to embrace that opportunity. Now,
Yeah,
Career has a model which I call this T2T. It's my own framework which I've been developing, and I'm actually almost on the course of writing something on the younger, out of college career starter generation. And that it's called the T to T conversation, which is really around look at the T, which is the inverse T, right?
Yeah.
So in the bottom of the T, you have to build your skills, uh, go around, explore, experiment, because you are not carrying too many passengers on your plane. So
Yeah.
feel free to do that. Take the risk. Don't worry. Then like something which you like and start specializing on that one skill here, right? So you come here and then you're kind of going up on the specialization terrain. Then join it with another vertical T. So it's T, it's inverse T going from a T from the
Yeah.
top. And it's almost
Yeah.
like a big I, if you can see. But really it's T to T, where you're saying build further super specialization, become more valuable. So the trick here is to be valuable. When I go
Yeah.
back to talent economics, what is the trick? The trick is to be valuable to your employer. If more valuable you are, more is the paycheck, more is your value, and less the risk to your job. How do you become valuable? By ensuring that your skills are either super specialized or you are super organizationally savvy to be able to navigate the matrix, the swimming trunks you have, to go around and be able to deal with any kind of scenario, troubleshooter, like they call it, problem solver. So any of these two things you need to have, and therefore you can be more valuable to the organization. And as you become a leader, people who are in the 30, 40 years of zone, they should focus on super specialization and horizontal skilling where they can pick up many skills. So even if you take a step back today, let's say, and I'm kind of addressing this in a slightly different way, is someone is in the mid stage of career and you have to take a step back. Or someone is very young also, if you take a step back in your career, try something else. Don't get too worried and too hassled. Don't let your ego come in your way that if I do that, it's going to hurt me. It may hurt you in the short term. In the long run,
But long.
think about it, it may pay off very, very well. And a lot of people have done that, right? It's like a catapult. You stretch yourself back a little bit, but then you zing across very, very fast. You can do that.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of careers. I can give you like at least 4 or 5 examples right off the bat of not celebrities, but normal people around us who have done that in the world we know, in India, outside India. So, in the interest of time, uh, I can go on to those examples, but my point is think around right now that what is the reason your skill is not landing you the right job if you're out of a job.
Yeah.
Reskill yourself, cross-skill yourself, accept a job which may not be playing up to your alley, but
Yeah.
use that to feed your passion and your skill. Just use it as right now as a feeder. Build
Yeah.
it up, build that layer of T below, specialize, you will become valuable, you'll get your job of your choice. Second is if you're already in a job, you're not enjoying it, step back a little bit again, move to the left or right within the job, find another vocation. There could be another career. I've seen a guy who was an engineering career leader who moved to a creative career and is doing very well today. So it's
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
and when you change a career, you're changing skills. So you do end up kind of discounting a little bit of what you have probably. So the ego comes in play that, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to lose like, 5% of my money. But the point is, if you're going to gain 40% back, why not take 5% back, right? Back to your cricket strategy, Amit. We do that in cricket as well, right? We say, all right, hey, it's a very bad over. Things have gone bad. Suddenly three batsmen are out. But what do we the next over? We don't say that, okay, now I'm going to throw all my bats out, right? I'm going to just,
Yeah.
you say, listen, stabilize, dig in the pitch, hold on, play straight, and don't, watch the scoreboard. Just keep
Absolutely.
shooting straight, be firm on your pitch, and the runs will start coming. That's what you need to do.
Yeah. Go slow, steady, and I think that you'll be able to kind of been able to kind of hold up to the crease for a longer time period.
Absolutely.
Absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah. I think that it is so insightful and the information was so impactful. We've been getting a lot of appreciation from a lot of people, a lot of our viewers. I think there are a lot of followers of yours who have pinged me separately and plus on the comment section as well. And so I wanted to kind of specially say the name here, Amandeep Nagpal. So I think that he mentioned that it is. I think that Amandeep has worked with you in Converges. So he has a pleasure to kind of have you here today with us and
Thank you so
heard you.
much. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And thanks to all our viewers. I think that I've never realized, as in that it's been more than an hour that we have been talking, and it is so wonderful. I got so engrossed into it, and but I think that there is a lot of takeaways that I have out of the session. And I am sure that a lot of our viewers will also have a lot of takeaways that how exactly that we need to take care of, as in I think that what you mentioned in your book is something which everybody has to take care of, is like the different quadrants, which is like QAPA, which is like you have different quadrants of your life. So divide your life into uh, uh, quadrants in terms of 10 years of your life, so 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60. And then I think that the APA, which is like assess what is your current situation, what exactly that you expect out of it, your life, your job, your career. Then plan accordingly, right? Then plan according to the situation after your assessment, and then act on it, right? And I think that is a brilliant takeaway here, because there is so much. If in case we have to kind of summarize it, but to make it very crisp, I think this is the key mantra: breakthrough. You can, as an all to all the audience, I would suggest I'll share the link here, where you can actually go ahead and buy this book, because this has answer for all your questions, right? And in a very simplified way. So thank you, Ashutosh. It was a wonderful
I'll just
conversation
like to
with
add to
you.
that, Amit, very quickly that, dear friends, thanks for hearing out. Thanks for asking the question. You guys are very kind. I feel blessed that some of you who I know personally have been a big part of who I am today. And I'm a big part of you right now today. So, and those who I don't know, I'm here for you. Is through my book is like my mentor. For me as well, I put my thoughts into it, and if you can use it, it'll be my pleasure. But at the same time, I hold myself right behind it, and feel free to ping me, and I'm happy to, if I don't respond back immediately, I'm sorry because I may be tied with a lot of work, but I'm very approachable. So feel free to reach out, and I'll be very happy to hold your hand and see if I can help you out in any situation. But and this is not always about job, but it's always about advice as well. So maybe I can
Yeah.
lend advice. But all the very best. Live to your true north, and I wish you a lot of success, each one of you. Lots and lots of success wherever you are, whatever you're doing.
Thank you very much, Ashutosh. Thank you very much, and you made it so easy for people to kind of reach out to you. And I think that this is very right. Ashutosh is very much available, so any support that you require, you can always ping him. He definitely gonna go ahead and help you and advise you with the right kind of an information or the insight, whatever that you require. So thank you very much, all the audience. Thank you, Ashutosh. It was a pleasure and an honor to have you here with us, and we look forward to have you back with some insight, some more interesting topics. And I'm so looking forward for your next book now, which gonna go ahead and touch base the other segment of audience, and which is very important, because once the youth is being shaped well, I think that I'm sure the future will be great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Amit. It's been a pleasure, and you've been an excellent bowler. I've tried to bat well. Let's see.
Oh,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
So,
Thank you.
so you've already scored 100.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening and a weekend. Great weekend. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.